Now there's a lot of research coming out about impotence and the inability to maintain or get an erection,
Yep.
and the effects of a plant-based diet. So, if we think of like our masculinity as our ability to procreate,
Yep.
well, it's a vegan diet, a plant-based diet has been shown to do some amazing things for men with impotence.
Welcome back to episode 6. So today we're going to be talking about masculine energy with a whole food plant-based diet. Now, this topic's a good topic because men's health doesn't get talked about enough out there, and I'm really looking forward to getting your perspective on a whole food plant-based diet with the male race out there.
Mate, it's a very hot topic. Good question. As men, we neglect our health. Our health, it's one thing that is really difficult in my job is to promote health to men. A lot of men, they don't want to go and see the doctor. They deny their symptoms and they present very late. And we find that women, on the other hand, are very proactive in their symptoms and things like that. So they obviously do better with their health. But it's one of the big things, and one of the big things for me was when I went to a plant-based diet, was it's not really seen as a very masculine thing to do. We're as men, we're seen as this. You've got to have your steak and you got to have your beer, and that's a very masculine thing. And if you follow a plant-based diet, people kind of see that as a sign of weakness. And to be honest with you, like I sort of thought that of myself for a little bit, and then I realised what the bigger picture was. The bigger picture is compassion and wanting to help this planet, and compassion is something that no other species has the same level as we do. Compassion is our morality, it's our morals, and there is no species that exerts the same level of compassion that we do, and that is seen sometimes in society as a weakness. And it shouldn't be, because I just decided I don't really care what people think of me anymore, because the bigger picture is about the planet, and it's about my little boy. And when my little boy grows up and looks me in the eye and says, why is our planet in such bad shape? I want to be able to look him straight back in the eye, my hand on my heart, and say I did everything I could to help this planet for you, and to give you the best opportunity to succeed. Now, I think that as men, we're so, the whole thing is like to go and catch up, you have a beer and you have a steak, whereas you and me, when we're catching up, we're eating carrots and we're having a kombucha,
That's true.
We throw a bit we might throw a bit of rum in our kombucha or whatever, but, it's one of those things where people see a plant-based diet as, this weak sort of thing, these really sort of skinny people, they're going to walk along and blow over in the breeze, and you've proven them wrong. I see your videos. I see what you squat. I see what you bench press. It's amazing. And we these are the three things. So the 3 Ps, what we call it. I remember when I was studying physio. I was a physio before this, but we studied men's health, and men think of the 3 Ps. So to provide, to protect, and to procreate. So first of all, a male to preserve their masculinity, they need to be able to provide for their family and give them what they need. Needs to be able to protect, his family, and he needs to be able to procreate. You take away one of those, a man starts to question his masculinity and things like that. But the irony is that now there's a lot of research coming out about impotence and the inability to maintain or get an erection. And the effects of a plant-based diet. Now, I know a personal family member that has had these issues, went on a plant-based diet, and is absolutely, like said to me the other day, he feels like a teenager again, and he couldn't believe it. And that was one of the big things. He was like, if it can do that to the vessels down there, imagine what it's doing to the vessels everywhere else. The vessels in our heart, the vessels in our brain. It is all the same sort of physiology, and it's amazing. I couldn't believe it. To me, I was like, wow, that's unreal. And so he firmly believes in a plant-based diet. So, if we think of like our masculinity as our ability to procreate, well, it's a vegan diet, a plant-based diet, has been shown
help
to do
that.
some amazing things for men with impotence. And even the new movie coming out, The Game Changers, they talk about this sort of thing. So it's very interesting.
You know, it's really funny you say that, because I've personally read a lot of studies too that are coming out now on a whole food plant-based diet, and also, you know, with the same issues with men being able to get an erection and also perform. And the vegan diet is really, really changing people's minds on and showing people the truth behind this, is that the way men are living now currently is not working for us. Look, men are suffering from, look in Australia now, males are suffering massively. Out here, beating the chest, we're all big tough guys, but inside, we're weak. And the thing is that the more we're pumping our chest and the bigger and tougher we look, the weaker we are inside. And it's showing, because depression in males is
huge.
Massive. Suicide in males is massive. Men are suffering and men aren't talking about it. And I think this masculinity thing, I'm a man, you know, you're a human.
Yeah.
That you're a human, you know what I mean?
Yep. And you have all the same pillars that make you human, of our morals, our compassion, like I said.
You're a human before you are anything else. You know,
Exactly.
Males and females are a balance of masculinity and femininity, you know what I mean? And
I completely agree.
The masculinity and throwing away the balance is making the world and men suffer.
Oh mate, that is 100% the truth, you know, and it's something we have these big issues of how we're seen in society and how we're perceived. And you know, I believe that you know, things like Facebook make that harder, because we're already exposed to this huge amount of people, and we want to make sure we look tough, and we want to, and once you are comfortable with that feeling that, you know what, I'm gonna be compassionate and I'm gonna do the right thing, you know, then I don't really care what people think of me anymore.
And you say you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. We should not care. And my wife taught me that. She was very much that sort of person, like didn't really care about what people thought about her. She really cares about her close family and people that she wants to care about, but what people think about her, it doesn't matter. And that is very important. Because, you know, I copped a fair bit of backlash going on a plant-based diet.
As did I, and as do a lot of males. I think males do more than females. And look, and I don't mean offense to anybody out there that is watching this, but we're looking today. You're looking at a lot of these guys who are like, I'm a Viking. This Viking thing's come in, or I'm a warrior. Like, you know, you got guys dressing up as Vikings, wearing Viking shirts or wearing warrior shirts, and you know, it's all pretend. And
it is pretend,
what a real, if you want to look at what a real man can do, a real man can be himself. His true self. The way a real man is around his daughter or his son. And a real man knows how to show love, show compassion.
100%.
And to go beyond that, not a real man, a real human. And that's what men need to be. They need to be humans and not try and be this warrior or this pretend character that doesn't exist.
Mate, Benny, that is so well said. You hit the nail on the head, and I think that, you know, that is starting to change now. I think there are people who are starting to be in touch with that. Like, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
And I think you know, a whole food plant-based diet, you know, men need to start looking after their health. We know that, and a whole food plant-based diet, I think you would agree, is the first step. And I think now we're starting to see a lot of men that are transitioning to a vegan diet. They can start to be themselves, and as soon as you can start to be yourself, then you can actually be a real man. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I do firmly believe that a whole food plant-based diet is something we should all be doing, because it's something we have control of. I don't have control over where, you know, if coal's being burnt, and I don't have control over, you know, petrol cars driving around and things like that. You know, what I can control is I can ride my bike to work, and I can control the food I eat, and you know, I can limit the plastics and things like that. It's just something that we can control, and you can make a very, very positive impact on the environment and on the animals and on your own health.
And I think, as all humans, male or female, this is something we need to do. We need to balance out the energy. And I think men need to start talking about their health and being upfront about it, because it's the only way we're actually going to survive and be able to do the things that men are supposed to do.
I completely agree.
And I guess going on to our next series, our last one, there's a few nutrients I know. Is there any nutrients? So whether you're on a whole food plant-based diet or not, I know there's a few nutrients. How many nutrients are there that you recommend that we should be getting from another source?
So there's only 4 that I watch that I look for myself.
Yep.
So vitamin D,
Yep.
which we can make naturally in our body, but we can talk about
Yep.
that later. Iodine
Yep.
is important, vitamin B12 and omegas. So these are the 4 nutrients that research has shown are the most difficult to obtain on a plant-based diet, and these are the ones that we should be most concerned about. The others, they take care of themselves. Just eat plants.
Yeah. And when you say a whole food or a plant-based diet, is this just a plant-based diet or people in general really?
Oh, so people in general, really. So, like we said, 26% of Australians have low levels of vitamin B12, and up to 58% have low levels of vitamin D. And iodine deficiencies are now starting to become very prevalent.
Yep.
So, I have a mate who's a GP in Tassie who says he puts a lot of his patients on iodine supplements because the soils. Iodine comes from our soil again, and we continue to take from our soil.
Totally.
And we don't put back, so that's important.
So when we actually talk about these deficiencies, we're really talking to the general public, whether you're on a plant-based diet or not.
Completely agree.
Okay, cool. So in our final series, we're going to discuss these 4 essential nutrients with Dr. Andrew Little. Looking forward to it, mate.
Let's do it.
We'll see you soon.